Hi guys, welcome back to the Casual Watch Review channel. This week I've got another review for us, and that is this Melbourne watch here. Now, Melbourne Watch has reached out to me a couple of weeks now, so I've had like 2 or 3 weeks with this watch, so I can kind of give you an in-depth review. It's a micro brand from Australia, as the name might suggest. It's using a Sellita movement, and it's also a dive watch with a ceramic bezel. But as with all of these reviews, I was kindly sent in this watch by Melbourne Watches, but they haven't asked for, been given, or been offered any input in this review, positive, negative, or otherwise. This is my honest review of this Melbourne dive watch. So let's flip the camera around. We'll do the unboxing first, and then we'll dive into the review.
So here we have our Melbourne watch. Now this watch retails for around $675 US, 950 Australian. It comes in this case. Now I've seen other cases reviewed online where this looked more like a solid wooden box. This has a kind of a plastic wood effect coating on it, so I'm not sure whether this is a box that's just been provided to me for review. Sometimes they switch the boxes up on these review copies. We have the nice Melbourne cleaning cloth in here. Also, this comes with a 2-year warranty as well, and the card is included. Here we have our watch. I've been wearing it primarily on this NATO strap. I'm wearing one white glove here just to try and reduce the fingerprints when we do the close-ups. I've been wearing it primarily on this Bond style NATO strap. Not technically Bond strap, but this is the one that people refer to it as. This is one of those spring-made ones, probably one of my favourite NATO strap makers because it has this nice buckle, which means that it's infinitely adjustable. But the watch does come on a metal strap, and this is it here. It's overall a very nice metal oyster style strap. We have the signed Melbourne Watch Company safety clasp here. It's a double pushage, so let's just show that. We can see quite substantial on here. Screw-in end links and solid end pieces here as well. I will be putting it on this strap later so you can see it. Also, it has this quick release design for the pins, which is a nice touch. I do want to leave this strap off for the time being because I am going to talk about the lug design as we concentrate on this watch. As we can see, it's quite a substantial dive watch, although it's not too heavy, which is always, I know, the concern. It has a substantial solid feel to it, but it's not obnoxious in any way. Looking at the overall design of the watch, it has industrial elements and then highly refined parts as well, which give it an interesting look. So what do I mean by that? Well, the case has got this brushing on it, which we're used to seeing on more kind of industrial dive watches. That's complemented with guards around the crown and a smaller crown here. But it also has other highly refined elements like the dial and hands, and also the bezel. The bezel, this separate bezel here, is something that I've been reading is made of aluminium or aluminum for our US viewers, so not steel. But the case is 316L stainless steel. They've done something very nice with the case back as well that we will be looking at shortly. As you'd expect from a diver, screw-in crown, 200 meters water resistance. It's using the Sellita SW200 movement. This is my first experience of a Sellita movement, believe it or not, the amount of watches I've reviewed and owned. But this is my first Sellita experience, and I'm very impressed. It's been extremely accurate. I'm going to show a quick graph here. I timed it over a week and got very good result. They've done a great job of the accuracy on here. The crown signed with the Melbourne logo, which we like to see. The bezel itself is smooth, nice action to it, 120 click. We have lume on the lume pip here. The bezel itself is ceramic, and it's got a unique feature that I've never seen on a watch before, and that is that it's textured with a wave. So if you run your fingernail across it, you can feel it. You can also feel it as you rub the bezel here. It's not a smooth bezel, it's ridged. And also the bezel seems to be in two parts. So an inner white part, and then the top layer is the ceramic layer. Now, one of the things I thought when I saw this two-layer bezel was that the white ring might be lume. It might have some glow-in-the-dark properties, but that's not the case. The only lume on the bezel here is the pip. We're using a sapphire crystal with a nice anti-reflective coating. So that's good for me when I'm filming. We're not getting a ton of reflection on here. It's smooth and flush to the bezel. It doesn't protrude in any way. So you're not adding an extra thickness to the watch. Whilst we're talking about the measurements, let's go over those all-important case measurements. So it's a 42mm case width, 50 millimeters from lug to lug, a 22 millimeter lug width, and then an overall thickness 13.5 millimeters. So let's just turn the watch on the side so you can have a look at that. Here we have it, a 13.5 millimeter thickness. Let's zoom in here and get a look of one of the standout elements of this watch for me, and that is the dial. Now, believe it or not, this dial is a ceramic. Now, we haven't seen anything like this on the channel, with the exception of that Omega Dark Side of the Moon, which I reviewed a few weeks ago. That had a ceramic composite dial. Now, I'm guessing they're using ceramic here because there's a deep ridge on the bottommost dial. So this is almost a triple layered dial. We've got the second track around the outside, and then the dial that has the applied indices on it as well, which are nicely surrounded in silver, and then this lower dial which has that deep ridging on, and it gives a lot of depth to the dial. Really captures the light, similar to maybe one of the newer Omega Seamasters. Hopefully I can capture this in the light. It has this kind of tubed ridge design on it, and then we have the Melbourne logo. I'm not crazy personally about the font that they've used here on the date window and then for some of the writing on here. Purely personal preference, but for me, I'm not crazy about that. I think they could have applied the logo for the name to really have that kind of dress diver aesthetic to it. Now, I suspect I know why they haven't done that, because Melbourne is obviously a long watch name, and their logo, their M logo, is very intricate. So I imagine that would be very difficult to kind of emboss in the dial, or maybe make a separate piece of metal that can be applied. So I imagine that's why that is the case. I'll throw up a loom shot now. Now back to one of my favourite features about the dial, other than the ridge design. The hands. I think they've done an awesome job of these hands. The second hand, it's got this rectangle to it, and then we have the M for Melbourne watches on the reverse side of the second hand here. But the hour and the minute hand, I like the size of them. It suits a substantial watch like this. You know, on the channel before, I've accused these larger watches of having too smaller hands, but these are well in proportion here. There's also a multi-finish to the hands. So we have the loom in the center, which is one. And then, because of the shape of them, there's a brushing up either side of the hands, and then a high polishing down the center. I've not seen hands like this on a watch before, and I'm a big fan of that. A distinctive design that I think really complements the rest of the dial. Moving round to the back, this is another highlight of this watch for me. This deeply engraved diver's helmet on here, as well as all the text, is deeply etched in there. And I think it really speaks to the quality of the design, the way that they've screwed the case back on so it perfectly lines up. I think this gives it an awesome look. Okay, so let's talk a little bit around why I chose to leave the metal band off for the first part of this review. Now, this is something that bothers me probably a little bit more than it should, and totally probably personal preference here, but I don't think there's enough gap between the spring bar here and the watch case. So the metal band, which is a perfectly good metal band that it comes on, is probably one of the few straps that I suspect you'll be able to fit this watch on. Because of that, I struggled to get other straps onto this watch. I struggled to get a thicker NATO strap on. I tried it on one of those Armilla straps. I think if you wanted to put it on a rubber strap like a Tropic or even a handmade leather strap, I think you would really struggle, unfortunately, just because the way the lugs are designed. But if you're happy to keep it on a metal strap or on one of these thinner NATO straps, then I think you'll have no problems, really. That's just me being super picky with the design. I did mention it on the Boulder Globetrotter, so it's only fair to mention it here. However, I think they've done a great job of the case overall. What I'll do now is just pop the metal band back on so you can see what it looks like on the metal band. Yes, but before I show it you on the metal strap, I might as well show it you on this NATO strap. This is predominantly what I've been wearing it on. Very comfortable, nice weight to it. As you can see, it fits my 7.5-inch wrist quite well here with this NATO strap on. My wrists are sort of 7.5 inches depending on the temperature out there, but overall a comfortable watch to wear on a NATO. Considering I'm going to be putting this back on the strap, I might as well show you how easy it is to get on with that quick release. So solid end links here, you just pinch these two parts together and then just slot it straight in. This is considerably easier than other metal straps that I've seen. Usually they're a bit of a bugger to get back on these metal straps, but this one just slots in no problem. Now, also, you might be able to notice as I'm on the last link, reduced it down to the last link on either side of this. So if you've got a larger wrist, 7.5-inch wrist mine is, then you'll have no problem. There's plenty of extra links in there. Just popping it on the wrist on that metal strap. It is a very comfortable metal strap. It doesn't add a lot of extra weight to the watch, which is nice. We've got those highly polished center links as well. I would just, if you like this strap, I would just keep it on this strap, to be perfectly honest, because of the lug sizing measurements. It'll last a long time on this strap.
Okay guys, that was my review of the Melbourne Watch. To let me know what you think in the comments section down below. Big thanks to Melbourne Watches for kindly sending me this watch. I'll leave a link to them down below. If you want to contact me directly, just contact me on any of these social media links or directly at thecasualwatchreviewer@gmail.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on the Casual Watch Review channel. Thanks guys, bye.